All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Real Estate Backstory. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker. Hard for me to say, but I'm still the managing broker at Max1 Realtor and Realty Partners. This is my lovely bride and partner.
Hi, my name is Ming Richardson. I am the compliance broker for Max1 Realty and Realtor Partners.
And we are blessed to be welcomed with Beth Hudson from Lueder, Larkin Hunter today. She's going to be joining us. We're going to be I'm not sure grilling is the right word, but we're definitely going to be talking to Miss Beth today, and we got some questions for her that we're going to be throwing at her as well, kind of thing. Before we jump into that, we did kind of want to go over all the continuing education we have coming up this week. So on tomorrow, Tuesday, we have video marketing for real estate professionals. That's at 10. We also have our weekly accountability meeting. And that is with Miss Keisha Kennedy, and honestly, that is just a phenomenal thing. We're going to be talking a little bit more about that in just a minute. On Wednesday,
how to bulletproof your contract. I know with today's market, especially multiple offers, there's a couple of things I would like to present to you guys as you go down a contract, what listing agents are looking for, and what makes you a successful negotiator on your contract.
So Ming is teaching that.
I'm teaching it.
Yeah.
So
that's at 9:30, not 10.
Yes.
So, and then also on Wednesday at 1, we have mobile apps, virtual tools, and digital marketing at 1 from 1 to 4. And then Thursday at 10, we have the dangers of credit. And that is a Teresa McIntosh class. And that is a phenomenal class. It talks about the importance of credit, but also the dangers of credit, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And we also have our Tech Thursday. We do that every Thursday. And on Friday, we have more contracts offer and acceptance. That's a Contracts 101 class. And then coming up on November 30th, in our new Fayetteville office, we are going to be doing our relaunch, which is our post-license course. And it is designed for both existing agents as well as new agents. Our post-license class is really designed to help agents get up to productivity, whether you're new or whether you've been in the business and just not quite achieving the goals that you really have set for yourself. So,
and actually part of our relaunch has business planning. So if you have not worked on your business planning, please do so at this time.
Yeah. All right. So today we have Beth Hudson. Hey, Beth, how are you today?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Great. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate Lueder, Larkin Hunter being here with us. And so we do got a couple of questions for you today, some things that we'd kind of like to kind of throw at you and see how things are going. So first of all, how are things in the real estate closing world as far as all that goes?
They're good. We have been busier than ever. So the interest rates have been staying consistently low. And from what I hear, they're going to stay low for the next year or so. So I'm seeing loans closing in the 2s for 30-year standard conventional mortgages. I mean, that's the low end of the spectrum, but I just can't believe it. Just closing after closing, I'm seeing these great interest rates. So that's just really helped people continue to buy and sell like they always have, even during a pandemic.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
What are some of the challenges that you see as a closing attorney during a pandemic that can help the agent to assist you and make our transaction a little easier?
Yeah, I mean, I would say things are taking longer. It's taken longer to run title exams. It's taken longer to get payoffs and HOA closing letters. So definitely getting the information from the sellers as soon as we can about their mortgage company and their HOA contacts. I would say that's one of the problems I've had recently have been being able to figure out who the HOA person is to contact to get us the letter. And in the one case that we had that was difficult, the person lived in the neighborhood, but it was just hard to get a hold of them. So getting your information from your sellers is super helpful to get us get the project started sooner. And then also on the buyer side, getting us in contact with the buyer's mortgage company as soon as possible too, because sometimes we don't know who they're getting their loan with. And
Right.
If they don't get us that information soon enough, it can cause delays.
Yeah, and the closing attorney represents the lender, so it's kind of important for them to talk to them prior to closing. So, and then, the challenge, you brought up the HOAs, and our challenge always is it always seems like the buyers agents are trying to get through to the HOA, but the HOA won't talk to anyone except for the sellers,
Right.
because they've got to pay for them. So, a lot of times we kind of end in that catch-22 there a little bit. So
That's
that's
right.
there for sure. We had a couple of questions this past week about title insurance. Could you explain to us the different types of title insurance that are out there? And do we have to ask for an upgraded title policy? Does it automatically come? Are there benefits of it? Just kind of give us a real kind of brief overview of the types of title insurance and what you guys are offering and how that all works.
Okay, yeah. So absolutely. So there are two types of title insurance policies. There's a lender policy and the owner's policy. A lender is always going to get title insurance. I've never seen them not get that, but that just protects them. It doesn't protect the buyer. On the buyer side, there are two levels of owner's title insurance. So there's the basic title insurance policy, and then there's the enhanced title insurance policy. We always issue at Lueder, Larkin Hunter, and I think most closing attorneys are going to always issue the enhanced policy if it's available. It's not always available. For instance, we can't issue it on vacant land, and we can't issue it on over 25 acres. So there's some limits on it. But generally, if you're selling or buying a house in a platted neighborhood, then we're able to issue the enhanced policy. And that protects the owner against any claims against their title. It protects them against any issues with their boundary lines. If there's a dispute with their neighbors about where their boundary lines are. I hear pushback on getting title insurance from buyers that are buying new construction, but the insurance insures the land underneath the home. So if you lose the title to the land underneath your home, regardless of how new that home is, you've lost your home.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a nightmare scenario, but when you're talking about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, usually people's biggest investment, title insurance is a one-time premium that you pay at closing. To me, I would never buy a house without buying title insurance, and you pay it the one time when you're paying all your other closing costs, and then it protects your investment in your home for forever. And we run a title exam before closing. We would not close on a property if we knew of any title issues, but there are all sorts of things that can come up after closing that even the best title exam can't catch. There can be errors in the title, there can be fraud, there's human error, there's all sorts of things that can come up that even the best title examiner would miss.
Awesome. Well, and that kind of leads into the next thing I really want to kind of bring up is that, we have this Max1 VIP at Lueder Law, which is for agents to be able to use to present their contracts and do more than just present their contracts. But, the reason that that's a good lead in is, one, if you have any kind of questions and you ever need to ask anything, this is a great email to have. You need to have this email because they can reach out or respond back to you and answer questions that sometimes that are above a broker level question kind of thing. A lot of times we as brokers, we refer to the attorneys a lot. Sometimes they're tired of hearing from us too. But the thing is that the title insurance is one of those big deals that matter, or that really matter where you close. And we always insist is probably the wrong word, but we'll strongly advise that you use a professional real estate closing attorney, because they know the differences. Where we have problems in title is when it's, well, this guy did my parents' divorce, and he's also gonna do their real estate closing, and they don't know what they're doing, kind of thing. And that's where we end up in problems, because even if the attorney messes things up, guess who they blame? They still blame us. And so we need to make sure that we are guiding them. And so that's why we love our relationship with Lueder Larkin. And then we also want to make sure that you guys have an easy access to them. So Max1 VIP, you can send your contracts, you can send questions, the whole 9 yards. How's that working out for you guys, Beth?
It's great. Yeah, we're happy to monitor that. So the people that are on that email are myself and Deborah Kalish, who's the other attorney here, and then also our staff. So feel free. You have two attorneys that you can shoot any questions over to, and then also our staff. If you're sending contracts over, our staff can help open up those files and get them in our system.
And
So
Beth
all
will,
you have to-
I'm
Okay.
sorry. And Beth will also, their team will also coordinate. It doesn't matter if your seller wants to close north side and the buyer wants to close on south side. It doesn't matter. They'll coordinate all the location for your for both agents. So that's not a problem.
Right. We have one central location here where we can manage all of that. You can get to know our pre-closers and our closers, and myself and Deborah. And then we can also coordinate with any office. We have 23 or 24 offices all over Atlanta that we
That
can
all?
coordinate. Right.
Sorry.
And I will say too, just on some of the most common problems I see in title is people that do prepare a deed that don't necessarily know just the technicalities of Georgia requirements. And I've seen it from attorneys that don't specialize in closings. So just to reiterate that, it reminds me when I see that I don't do litigation, I don't dabble in that kind of thing. And it's a reminder to me to, just specialize in what you know well and do it well.
So you're not chasing ambulances?
No, I'm not.
You're not that kind of attorney, right?
No, I like to.
Awesome. Well, we sure appreciate you, Beth. Is there anything else that you have for us today?
I don't think so. We just appreciate all of y'all's business, and we are here to help you guys. We want to make the transaction as smooth as possible. So just feel free to reach out to us for anything.
Awesome. Well, same goes here. You're welcome to hang out and chime in if you see anything, or we know how busy you guys are too, so we understand either way. So
okay, I'd love to hang on as long as I can. Thanks
Please.
for having me.
Oh, and then jump in if you got something to add. We'd love to hear it. So come on in. All right. Well, we're going to move on here, and I want to talk really quickly about agent career progression, because there's a new study that came out this past week, and it talks about how long it takes agents to really move into production. And this is always one of those tough calls in our industry right now. We have a high attrition rate in our industry, and so from the brokerage level, we're looking at kind of what are those numbers, and I wanted to kind of share that out there. But overall, it really does take time. We see about 40% of our industry leaves before they've hit 15 years in the industry. And if you stick around in real estate for 15 years, you will probably end up retiring in real estate. For a lot of people,
I think I'm retiring this year then.
well, no, not that you retire after 15 years, but if you've been there for 15 years, then chances are that this will be the career that you end working in, kind of thing, that kind of stuff. Some folks use real estate as a transition career, but by and large, if you stick with it, it really does start to pay off. But we still have a huge fallout rate, and I want to talk a little bit about that. Is that what we see is the trend lines for agents as they move up in production, kind of thing. For most agents, you're looking at about 6 months before you get your first closing, and that's always a very tense time. Mm-hmm. And then how long to your second closing? By the time your first closing comes, you're already in debt. So you're trying to, you don't want to have that closing breath on you necessarily. But by the same token, you've got to start looking at what can you do to get yourself into production and moving up. And that's why earlier we mentioned like accountability, operating your business as a true business. See, there are a couple of indicators of success in real estate. And the first one is that you have to start selling over $1 million a year in real estate. If you do, for producer or for agents that don't produce over $1 million of transaction volume in a year, they tend to, over 35% of them who closed less than $1 million recorded no volume in the following year. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to work on production. The second big indicator is that your productivity increases. So if you do $1 million this year, you need to do $1.5 million next year, and then $2 million, and then $3 million. It's when you continue to progress through your career. Those are the biggest indicators for success in real estate. And so as agents, you've got to look at yourself and say, am I selling over $1 million of real estate in a year? And I know that that's kind of a, the whole $1 million club, that doesn't necessarily make you wealthy by any means, kind of thing, but that's kind of like the baseline. You've got to get there to start with. And then every year, are you increasing your productivity year over year? the biggest challenge we have in talking about these numbers is that so many agents don't know their numbers. They don't know what they did last year in production. They don't have goals for what they're doing this year in production. They're not keeping up with what they're doing month to month to month. If you're, if you're working for a Fortune 500 company, do you think that they know what their sales were last year? Do you think they know what their sales goals are for the year coming up? Do you think that they're tracking and their progress as they move forward? You better believe they are. So if that works for a Fortune 500 company, you as your own small business person, why wouldn't you do that? We see this as being one of the biggest indicators for realtors who succeed versus realtors that flounder. So please, we have relaunch coming up later this month and into December. That has business planning. It has a lot of different things to do. Now, we're not seeing business slow down. And so now is the time to really start looking at your business in a very proactive way about what are you going to do to help grow your business? So, all right, moving on into some other interesting news. I want to talk about iBuying. So last week I taught I taught my iBuying class that, what to know as a realtor about iBuyers. But, we just got some new information about iBuyers. And the biggest, and it's not that it's been an unknown thing, but the whole idea here is that the iBuyers are losing money hand over fist. I mean, losing a lot of money. On average, Open Door last year operated a 7% net loss. I don't know how many of us are going to operate our business at a 7% net loss and consider that to be successful is kind of staggering kind of thing. When you talk about the iBuyers, this is all about Wall Street. And so they look at gross profit per home, which looks to be pretty good, in 2019 versus 2020, both Zillow and Open Door both ran up, running about $17,000, between $15,000 and $17,000 gross profit per home, which if you're Wall Street looks really, really good. The challenge is that by the time that they go in and they take out all of their true costs and what it is, they're operating where they're losing massive amounts of money. But the real kicker here is that they don't care. And that's the hard part in dealing with a competitor that doesn't care if they lose money. That's the thing when realtors start looking at how can this model work? Well, red is the new black here kind of thing. These guys are operating. They're here to be disruptors and to change the way things are being done. They're not interested in or even slightly concerned about losing thousands of dollars on each and every single home. As a matter of fact, if you look at Zillow posted its first profitable quarter in 3 years this past quarter kind of thing. And honestly, a lot of that is not fueled by the interesting thing is that for that last quarter is when Zillow's iBuying was the lowest it's ever been. So, they're making more money off agents and off their flex program than they're actually making off of iBuying. But, this is not a matter of them running unit economics on flipping a house. They're here to compete with us on a fundamental, the way Americans buy and sell real estate in the future. And that's one of the things that scares me most about the iBuyers is they're being they're okay losing money. They want people to start being able to buy houses online. And and really for me, the kicker is we have the ability to beat that. We have the ability to overcome them because we have heartbeats. This is is this a threat to our industry? You better believe it is. But does that mean our industry is crashing and burning? No, not by any means, because actually they're the ones that are really, really struggling. If they continue to lose money, they can't lose money forever. Eventually, Wall Street will get tired of that. So, the thing is that we have to keep applying the pressure and showing our clients the value that we bring into the transactions. It is really, really important that we do that as well. So another new study this past week. So, I like backyards and I cannot lie. These are pandemic related housing and design trends that aren't going away. And we've got to be making sure that we're paying attention to them. Right now, yes, it's a huge seller's market. Things are going really, really good. But what are buyers looking for today? And how has the pandemic shaped buying trends going forward? This is, and I don't mean like the short-term stuff, but what we're seeing are things that have fundamentally changed the way people are looking at buying homes. And the first one is upgraded outdoor space. Outdoor space is a premium now. Used to be having that wooded backyard that kind of looked like something from a horror movie wasn't that big a deal. Well, now that needs to be cleaned up. That's valuable real estate now.
Right.
The outdoor space really matters. Backyards are a huge premium. Folks are back into their backyards right now, especially now things have started cooling off, that kind of thing. Looking to create functional home office or home classrooms is a big deal. Having space designated and set up, because we have so many of these open floor plans that just a few years ago, everybody wanted open floor plan, open floor plan, open floor plan. Well, if you tried to hold a Zoom meeting during an open floor plan, you can know what kind of a nightmare that can be with all the kids running around, dogs barking, just stuff going on everywhere. So, now we're looking at trying to separate space. Now we're trying to take these big open floor plans and actually segregate space where, the sales of room dividers and fan thingies are going through the roof right now because people are trying to divide up their space. Multi-generational households are back. If you have a household that has 2 kitchens in it right now, that's one of the biggest sales incentives right now we've got. And then the last thing is laundry rooms are so important right now. One, we're home a lot more, we're doing laundry a lot more, and everyone wants their laundry room to be bigger and better. So make sure that we're paying attention to those things moving forward, because they really are, these are things that are going to stick with us. This is not just a one and done kind of thing. We're really seeing that these are things that are going to matter for our buyers moving forward for the next couple of years, for sure, at least. So, and probably even longer. So, our October housing market trend report came out, and houses, even though they're still paying summer prices, homes are selling even faster than before.
Yep.
So it's been a pretty amazing fall as we've moved into it. Through October, new listings were down 18%, active listings down 45%, and we're running about 8 days on the market shorter. So October we had our first October where our days on market were less than September ever, which is kind of a first. And honestly, we kind of are moving into why this winter's slow season really is moving into not so slow. Normally this is a time when realtors, we just kind of sit back, life's good, like we get ready.
And our pumpkin spice coffee.
Oh yeah, it's
latte.
all about pumpkin spice
yeah.
right now, not about selling houses. Well, you better forget the pumpkin spice right now, because according to NAR, their chief economist, Lawrence Young, he predicted this is going to be the best winter sales season ever. Okay. Like capital exclamation point, okay. We are looking to head into our strongest winter ever. A lot of agents now, a lot of times in past years, this is the time when we start tooling down, kind of planning for next year, trying to do things to establish relationships and build those relationships so we can start off the first part of the year in the right place. No, we are still selling, and this is going to be a very, very interesting winter season for us, winter buying season kind of thing. And so, why is that? Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, the personal savings rate is nearly double where it was before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, the personal savings rate was around 7.5%. Right now, it's at 14.3% is the personal savings rate, which is much higher than it was before the pandemic. So people are saving a lot more money. So having that money for down payment is a lot easier for a lot of Americans right now. Our median home price.
is up by 12.2%. Yeah, that's incredible chart. I mean, and I know we're getting appraisal issues right now.
Oh, are
So
we?
listing agent, make sure you pull your comps for the appraisal before they even walk in the door. And also caution your seller that if you can't pull any comps near what they're asking for, even though a buyer is willing to buy at that price, it does not mean um, the appraisal is going to price it at that price. So be prepared and ask a question to see whether or not buyer has the means of bringing the differences if the property does not appraise.
Exactly. Um, oh, sorry. Moving on. So also our total listings are slightly starting to increase. Finally, we're finally starting to have a few more listings on the market, and boy, do we need them, because right now we do have, you know, as Beth said earlier, we have amazing interest rates that are really a huge benefit. We'll talk a little bit more about those in just a second, but then, you know, as more listings appear, boy, we are poised to really start taking advantage of that, because the home ownership rate is actually at one of its higher points. And you know, we're right now at 67% home ownership rate, and that continues to climb. We had a slight dip right when during the peak of COVID, but it's been increasing ever since then. You may see that home sales in September and October are down month over month, and that's true. But you have to look at what is our seasonal average.
Right.
Like, you know, for September, pending sales was down about 2% month over month. September is normally down double digits month over month, you know, in a typical year. So being down 2% is the equivalent of being up huge, because
Right.
if we were going to be down 15%, now we're only down, now we're up 13% over where we were last year, kind of thing. New home sales also have been trending down, or we're trending down, but not because of demand, because of supply and supply issues. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Unemployment rate has been improving. You know, in September we had a 7.9%. In October it dropped a full percentage point down to 6.9.
That is great.
And that's really what we need. We're you know, we've kind of knocked you know, about half of the unemployment rate back out from where it was, because, you know, historically we'll sit in that somewhere between 3 to 5% range. So being down almost at below 7 puts us in a much better place than where we were when at 14% at one point during the pandemic. So that's working out really, really good. You know, the Fed met this past week and they left policy rates unchanged.
Which is a blessing.
It is. And so in turn, for the 12th time this year, what happened, May? For the 12th time, interest rates dropped. Okay, I don't know how, you know, like
how much more we can drop.
I mean,
Honestly.
like pretty soon they're just going to start opening our pockets and shoving money in. I mean, I don't know what else is left. Beth, have you seen anything like this either? You know,
I really haven't. I mean, there was like a refi boom in 2012, 2013, and the rates were low, but then they've just gone even lower. I don't know how they can go much lower than this, but it's helping people afford more home.
Absolutely.
Because their rates are low, so their payments are lower.
And honestly, that to me, that's one of those things that we're seeing that's offsetting. Like I am normally worried when we see home value appreciation in the double digits. Like we're at 12% over last year, and that's kind of scary for me, because no one is making 12% more this year than they made last year. But with the way the rates are, the home affordability factor is still really, really great because of where the rates are. I just, you know, every time that we set a new lowest rate ever, I say, well, this is it. And I've said this so many times this year that I'm beyond saying it anymore, because I just look ridiculous now. I didn't think that we'd be talking seriously in the you know, under, not just under 3, but like 2.25 kind of thing. A 15-year fixed mortgage is a 2.3% kind of thing. So it really is pretty staggering out there. Hang on, Beth, because one other thing that we just saw that came up is that jumbo rates are the lowest they've ever been. Because during a while, I mean, there for a while, I know that we had some issues with closings. where jumbo loans got yanked, right when the pandemic hit. Some lenders stopped doing jumbos altogether. And now we've transitioned all the way over to where jumbo has now hit its lowest rate ever kind of thing. Are you guys starting to see more jumbos going over there as well now?
Yeah, and from what I see, nobody knew what was going to happen at the beginning of the pandemic, but from what it appears to me, the people that have steady jobs, and we've figured out how to work through the pandemic. So people in the restaurant industry and hospitality industry have been affected, but people that are able to work from home and do Zoom closings or do their work via Zoom and all of that are still getting paid like they always have. So I think that while there was a fear at the beginning of this, now that we've kind of figured out how to continue to work through this, people that have steady jobs are still able to pay for their mortgages.
Yeah. Well, and the next point I really want, and this is another great question for you, is there's been some uncertainty about could the election impact mortgage rates, and that's kind of we don't go political. We're not political at all. Like if your candidate won, great for you. Let's go get some work done. If your candidate didn't win, I'm sorry for you. Let's go get some great work done. So we've got a lot of things going on. It came out and we went and looked up what happened prior to the last 3 elections. And guess what? There is no trend on it. After some presidential elections, the mortgage rates go up. After some presidential elections, the mortgage rates go down. I don't know how they could go down anymore, but I just don't see any impact on mortgage rates right now. Beth, do you feel anything different about that?
No, I think that I haven't seen any indication that they're going to change, and I don't really see how the election would change that.
Me either, but I just figured I'd go ahead and throw it out there. That's as political as we're going to get. Right. So, kind of thing. So I just don't see that happening at all kind of thing. Also, while we're talking about forbearance, talking about mortgages, forbearance rates dropped to a 7-month low in October as well. And that another thing that came out, even though we had a lot of homeowners that were taking forbearance, a lot of them still made payments kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. We got some news in the new construction world kind of thing. Construction spending was up, which we really needed. We need the builders to be building more. Single family home projects were up about 6%. So residential construction was really, really strong. And that's something that we're very, very excited about. One thing that is also coming down the road is it looks like we may be seeing some relief on the new construction materials side of things. Lumber futures are finally starting to subside. And so, as of right now, about 90% of our new home builders have taken price increases. And so what's going to be very interesting to see is when the lumber prices come down, are the builders going to drop their prices back down? Because that's going to be the real kicker. So I am pleased to see that the lumber prices are coming down. Overall, the average new construction home costs about $16,000 more. The material cost is about $16,000 more than what it was a year ago. So I do know that the softening of prices should make it better on the builders. Whether or not that reflects on the actual end price, I'm not trying to say nothing about the builders, but by the same token, would be nice to see a little softening on there. We sure could use it. Also on the new construction side of things, if you haven't heard of Dan Ryan Builders, you are about to. So Knight Homes has been bought by Dan Ryan Builders. Dan Ryan is a bigger builder throughout the southeast, the southern United States, like all through Texas, that kind of stuff, mid-plains, that kind of thing. And so they have now acquired Knight Homes. Now, Knight is still going to be operating kind of as is, right? But at some point, you will start seeing neighborhoods that maybe were going to be Knight switch over, and we're going to start seeing what's going to be looked to us to be a new builder. It's not going to be. So Knight Homes is now Dan Ryan Builders, and I just want to keep everyone in the know out there about what kind of is going on in that kind of stuff. So we don't foresee any kind of changes. And I know that, you know, Chris Knight is still going to be running the show over there. And that's just he's going to be running, you know, the Knight division of Dan Ryan Homes. So whether they operate under Knight or whether they operate under Dan Ryan, that's a question for them. But just wanted you guys not to think that there was necessarily a new player. It's just that that's who Knight is now. All right. And then I'm going to wrap up with Zillow has announced that for its rental listings, they will no longer be free as of 2021. So if you put in a rental listing right now, Zillow will pick it up through the IDX and they will share your rental listing for free. In the future, if you want Zillow to do it, you'll have to sign in and you'll have to pay them in order to list your property.
Isn't that amazing though?
Well, that's okay. Look, in my opinion, that's great because I think it's a stupid move for Zillow. I think that you know, listing syndication, especially when you talk about like the for sale, the residential real estate market, listing syndication is what built Zillow, and having access to our listings is what built Zillow. So the fact that Zillow wants to make you pay and does not want to be part of the syndication on rentals just means that, in my opinion, that they're going to get a lot less rental business than what they've been getting. Right. So, you know, that's where they want to go. It doesn't bother me even slightly. We've seen that Zillow is having financial issues, I guess you'd say, kind of thing. So we know that that's kind of coming down the road. But I just want to, you know, for those of you that work, you know, that list rental property, make sure that we're letting our clients know that no longer will they be able to find their listings automatically on Zillow. And we may see some clients that want to pay for those Zillow listings. Well, guess what? That's on them now, kind of thing. So really, that's about all we have today. So I hope this was a helpful backstory for you guys today. Miss Beth, we sure appreciate you joining us very much.
And don't forget,
well, thank you.
Don't forget, if you have in closing with Lueder Larkin, email your contract to Max1 VIP at luederlaw.com.
All right. Well, thank y'all very much.
Have a great Monday.
Call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. Deuces.
See ya. Have a great Monday.